If you had a client walk in and go, can you build me a house? And you'll go, of course I can. And then and then you'll say, well, where's your plans? And they go, well, we don't need any, do we? Like, that would be the stupidest thing in the world. And yet I hear it all the time out of business owners that don't have a plan. How old are you going to be before you start to experience life like you want it? I want to tell you right now, whether you like it or not, there is a better way to do business. Hi everyone, welcome to the Business for Builders podcast. My name's Max, I'm your host. I'm the CEO at Smith & Sons Canada, Inc. And I'm also the ambitious founder of EliteBusinessAdvisory.com. Great to have you along for the ride. I appreciate you if you've been with me for the longest time. And I also appreciate you if you just dropped in for the first time and you are just checking us out. I hope you get something that you can tuck under your arm and go and build that kick-ass business that we all talk about. Don't forget, get across to Business for Builders VIP on Facebook and, answer the 3 questions and, you're a good sort. I'll let you in. And of course, don't forget, if you're a contractor, a general contractor, a builder, I work with several builders as far as a business coach goes. And, we're seeing some pretty powerful stuff go on. Increasing profits, is literally the first thing, second only to helping people, understand, what we've got to do in the marketplace to try and generate more inquiry, because without leads, we're kind of dead in the water, folks. So, be sure to get across there. If you want to have a chat with me about coaching and about what goes on there, just get across to EliteBusinessAdvisory.com. I'm sure there's a link in the show notes for that, and hit the book a consultation button. Try and find a spot in my calendar, and I'd love to spend 30 minutes with you and drop some value, chat with you about your business and your goals and things like that, and just kind of really help you identify where you might be able to get to work, even if you don't come on board as an Elite Business Advisory client. Right, today, let's get after it. I don't think there's any other like and subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. One of these drops every week. Appreciate you if you're checking us out on YouTube as well. That's always a good thing. And look, if you've got any ideas, things you've got questions about, maybe just drop a comment and maybe I can get after that for you. And I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of other people that probably got a very similar question. So, right, today, I'm going to talk to you guys and gals about clear vision and decisive action. It's interesting because you don't get to episode 206, welcome to 206, and do it because you kind of, we make no money from the podcast, but what it does is it gives me purpose, because I believe that if I was a 20-year-old, 25-year-old carpenter wanting to get into business, then something like this would have helped me for sure. So, but really, what I do in the business sector as an operator, because I don't just do coaching, I'm a franchisor and I'm also the owner of a building company here in Vernon. And, there's things that happen to me more so now, especially when I'm operating frontline just on the weekend. And I'm going to talk to you guys about this at some point, as we had our home show over the weekend, the Saturday and the Sunday. And, we come out with, I think, 18 or 20 inquiries. We had a forecast build value of probably about $2.5 million worth of work. So I've been on the phones and on the emails to clients, in the days after that. So, I really like home shows, and I'm going to talk about that in depth. But as a building operator, a building practitioner, it really does start to sharpen my awareness as to what goes on in the day-to-day for builders, It's one thing to be sort of sitting here in corporate office, but it's another thing to be actually frontline and liaising with clients. And so, as I began to sort of think about, what I'm going to have a chat with you guys and gals about, I really thought it's, for me to be an authority with homeowners and with clients specifically, but also with prospective franchisees that might want to get involved, at the level with Smith & Sons. I've got to have a very clear vision and a good understanding of what I'm about and where I'm taking people, or where I would like to take people in the sales process and in the construction process, as well as have the ability to make very quick decisions, which, I don't know whether that's something that you can learn over time. I know that, fear is false evidence appearing real, and that really is counter to making decisive decisions, because a lot of people like to kick the can around. Those that know me, that are close to me, know that I have not got time for that. I would prefer to make a quickish decision if the outcome, in the event that I make a bad decision, is fairly low. I would rather just act on it quick and then start to move. And in the event I've got to pivot, I pivot. And so, because I just think we get stuck a little bit. So, I'm going to talk about the importance of a clear vision and quick decision making. That's essentially where we're going. So I think that, any time that I've had pressure on me, you can, and I can, be kind of duped into thinking that the longer I take to think about this, the better. And I just don't think sometimes, I understand that if you've got time to really stand back and assess the situation, the landscape, fine. But I really, I think intuitively, and I think this is what makes me a good leader and a good business coach and a good builder, is that my intuition is something I rely on a lot. So when I'm chatting with homeowners about what they want to do and they're sort of sharing with me things that they might want to do, then I'll be able to understand, because I'm very well versed in how I operate, how do I lead this client? And so I don't sit there and and because I'm telling you, when you're at a home show and you've got people that you're just meeting for the first time, they will tend to get an impression, because remember, folks, we never get a second chance at a first impression. And so when they're talking to me, I don't want to be arrogant and I don't want to try and talk about things that I don't understand. But what I do know is that when they're talking to me about subject matter that I understand fully, I really want to lead them in a way that they benefit from as well. And so it is up to us as builders and general contractors to insulate the homeowners from a lot of the bullshit that we deal with in the construction sector, such as, nothing against drywallers. I'm just picking one of these guys out. When the drywaller doesn't rock up to work on Monday because his dog died on the weekend, poor Fido, R.I.P. Fido. But, at the end of the day, we're there to really insulate the client from all of that trauma. And because, I had a joke with a lot of clients on the weekend saying, look, I know if you could go to Walmart and buy your renovation, you would. And we'd all get a bit of a giggle out of that. It was quite funny. But, I'm confident that, I can lead homeowners through, navigate the process and make it as enjoyable and stress-free as possible. And so the ability to make decisions, because there's a lot of things that I'm chatting with them about, a lot of things they're talking to me about where I'm processing on the fly. Okay. Now, if you're a 25-year-old and you've just got started in construction as far as being a builder, face the facts. You are going to trip up and you're going to look like a goose. Because if you're out there starting and I'm an old boy, essentially, then, there's a lot of credibility that I gain because of my perceived experience and authority. It doesn't guarantee me anything, but it certainly is more challenging for the younger bloods coming through. But in saying that, if you continue on and you press on, those feelings and those failures will help you to develop your skill and your craft as a reputable authority in the business. And so part of that is to really define a clear vision and really have the ability to make quick decisions. So firstly, what is a clear vision? And this can go for, obviously when I'm starting out with new clients, a lot of what we do in the strategic planning world is we're talking about 90-day goals or quarterly rocks. We're talking about 12-month goals. We're talking about 3 to 5 year goals. We're talking about 10-year goals, which is your BHAGs or your big, hairy, audacious goal. And the reason we need that clear vision, because we have to define the future goals of the company, of the business. It really does then help us develop the company culture, because there's a certain way that you are going to want things done in your business. And if they are not getting done that way, it's going to hinder you from achieving your goals in the business. And of course, ultimately, achieving what you want in the business is all about hitting your milestones. So your monthly goals, your 90-day goals, your yearly goals, etc. And so I challenge guys and girls, because I know that here's the deal. Here is the deal. Guys that haven't got the business going well, okay, whatever that is for you, you know what that feels like. And if I said to you, well, what you need to do is you need to do some goal setting. You'd be like, hey, Max, how about you go pound sand, because I've not gotten enough leads and I've not got enough money in the bank and I'm stressed. And I'm like, okay, understood. But then at the opposite end of the scale, you've got bigger companies that might do in excess of 3, 5, 10 million, and they're borderline one-man operations. And I say to them, hey, if you want to get some freedom back, you need to start thinking about goal setting. And they're like, Max, you have no idea what I've got on my plate. I'm working 5,000 hours a day. I haven't got time to set goals. And so it's interesting that somewhere in between you'll be there, and you'll probably agree the fact that goal setting is not exactly top of the all list, or your I will do today list tomorrow, okay, or whatever it is. So, but I would urge you that because we don't define what it is that we want, and we've heard this analogy before. If you had a client walk in and go, can you build me a house? And you'll go, of course I can. And then and then you'll say, well, where's your plans? And they go, well, we don't need any, do we? Like, that would be the stupidest thing in the world, and yet I hear it all the time out of business owners that don't have a plan. So I don't want you to go and do anything, okay? I don't want you to do anything. I don't want you to change anything. What I want you to do is just start to think about something around having a vision, setting out some goals. Like, just keep it basic. You've got to understand that I think goal setting is very much it's a learned art form. It's something that you've got to understand some of the tactics around it, some of the reasons for it, and understand that a powerful leader is somebody that maybe sets a goal, misses the goal, but has the strength and the security to then reset the goal, okay? So, I need you to understand the power that's wrapped up in goal setting, and maybe this is a little bit different to what you might hear from some of these other type, corporate professionals. But for us builders, I want to make it very palatable. I want to make it easy for you to digest and understand, why and the power that's in there. And so, if we can define that, it really helps us, develop the culture, and it certainly does help us with our success milestones. It aligns team efforts, it improves growth direction, and it boosts client confidence, right? It's interesting because I was at the home show with my business partner, and I turned around, I said, mate, you don't think I'm sounding too egotistical in the way that I'm talking? He says, no, mate, you just sound confident. And I thought, good, because my goal is not, I don't need to prove anything to anybody. I've been in this game now for 35 years. I launched a business coaching business 12, 14 months ago, and it's doing really well. And so, I'm just happy to be here to serve, and give you as much free information as I can think about and deliver. And of course, it's just really important that we have that confidence and humility. I said this to a client yesterday. I said, he who learns to serve the best will lead the most. I'm literally here to serve my business partners. I'm here to serve my corporate team. I'm here to serve my franchisees. I'm here to serve my client base. I'm here to serve my business partners in the construction business as well as in my corporate business. And so, I think with that attitude, it's just something that's important to me because I enjoy having team. It's doing this business. It's kind of, I've been married now for 30 years coming up, and to the same gal, and I've sort of, I enjoy the company. I often think, what if she wasn't in my life? And I'd go home to an empty house because I probably wouldn't have kids. And so there's just a lot of joy that you can get from doing business. Now, is it all joy all the time? No, it's not. The credit card gets attacked. The kid's car needs new tires. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that is frustrating. So it's not all blue skies and lollipops, but it's certainly, I enjoy having that team around me. So it's really important you have the right team members on your bus, in your business, in the right seats, behaving the right way. And that really does, come about, I think, because I think if we think about the vision for the business, you think about what you're going to do and how you're going to act, well, then you need team members that understand the vision and are prepared to act the same as you. And when they don't, they've got to get off the bus because they're not really a fit. Okay, let's quickly chat about quick decision making. So, time's money. When you're in the building game, a lot of the time you're on a set rate. Now, some guys and gals, I'll work by the hour. And I'm like, okay, time is not so important. Matter of fact, the slower you go, the more money you make. But that I don't agree with. Set me a target. Again, the vision is, hey, this is worth $1,000. How quickly can I get the job done at the right standard and get to the money? I think to be able to put together a company that understands that concept, and a lot of people will give you lip service and say they do, but does their actions map to their belief in that, that value? Because project momentum is key. Now, we used to do a lot of townhouses. I used to work on townhouse developments for ushers, and we would always be on site. So timber would get dropped, and that the guy across the way, there's an undisclosed, unwritten competition that's on. It's like, right, who's going to get this thing to lock up, or who's going to get this thing to frame inspection first? And really gamifying it can certainly help develop a speed muscle, if you like. And that really then comes out of your ability to make quick decisions. So when you think about, hey, if I'm going to do this frame the fastest, what I've got to do is I've got to make a lot of good decisions on the way, because my vision is to have this to a frame inspection ready to go by the end of the week. So there's your vision, right? So let's break it down. And then you really essentially are making decisions on the fly. And so how you go about, and this is why, guys, just to pivot slightly, and I might have done an episode on this. I talked about either being in your maker zone or being in your manager zone. And so, when we're thinking about the vision of the business, really you're in that maker mode. You're in that creative zone where you're just trying to think about all scenarios and how that's going to bounce. But I'll tell you what, once you get into operations, it's all about management mode. And so you've got to manage your decision-making processes. So you're like, right, what are we going to do first? What's the most efficient way to navigate, to the end result? And of course, the ripple effect when you start, we used to gamify it. So that's really what I was getting at with that competition between your framing crew and another framing crew. Obviously, the goal is not to deliver a substandard quality because you're fast. Seen plenty of that. That's a no-go. But the ripple effect, obviously, that it improves team morale because it makes it fun. There's nothing better than working with a bunch of guys and really, punching out some work and whistling as you work and really putting it together. Certainly, client satisfaction. We love it when clients are wowed by our work and how fast we're getting through things, and the quality that the quality of work that we're doing, and the quality of our team that's on the job. That really does, that motivates us as well. And then the financial stability that comes with it. We obviously we're looking at fixed price. That's what we do, not so much cost plus. And so that there's a very finite amount of gross profit built into these jobs. So my ability to think on the fly and think quickly about how I'm going to maximize delivery or to expedite delivery, maximize efficiency, and then create the maximum amount of profitability, that's something that we really want to focus on through our activities throughout the days and weeks and months as we do the job. And that'll obviously produce the financial stability that we're looking for. Prioritization in our quick decision making. Obviously, we've got to use our vision to prioritize. We really want to look at the way that we're doing. And I think this is part of being a successful business operator. And I'm not talking about how many zeros you've got in the bank account, but, I really, you want to get away from, make sure that you're combating decision fatigue. And whereby it's like, I've got another decision to make. I've got another decision to make. It's like, understand this, that your life as a business owner is basically, what do I do next? What's the best way to use my week? What am I going to achieve this month? I think it's that pioneering spirit that says, this is uncharted territory, this project, this week, this month, this year. And, as we come into the, fourth quarter of 2024, it's really where we start to think, about what's going to go on next year. And so you do a little bit of reverse analysis and think about what we've done thus far. We look at, I'm working with all of my elite business clients and my franchisees about what are we going to achieve in the next 90 days. Because it's, I literally said to someone this morning that one of my clients, I said, well, in 60 days it'll be snowing and about the same time it's going to be, Christmas. And that means the year's pretty much up. So, there's a lot of hustle going on. There's a lot of guys, a lot of clients that I've got in North America that are counting down the days to the snow because they know that's going to mess stuff up and the temperatures just drop. And so, there's a whole bunch of decision-making that's got to be done. We've got to have a clear vision of what we're going to do. We've got to be able to use, and you know what? Simplify it. Think about what you did today or what you're going to do today and ask yourself the question, am I going to get the most out of the next 24 hours if I go down that route? Or could I do things better? we've got to have what's important and urgent, and then separate the things that are urgent but, from important. We've got to be able to sort of categorize what it is that we're doing and how we go about doing it. And that'll automatically bleed into, hey, what systems do I need? What can I automate? What can I delegate? And what can I detonate? What can I get rid of? And so it's this on-the-fly decision-making process about everything that we're doing, guys and gals, in our day's work, if you like, where you've got to be always assessing and always auditing the activity within your business. And so it's no different to when I say to you guys as clients, hey, you need to be logging the activity on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis of the business, because we want to be data-driven decision makers, not emotional-driven decision makers, because emotional decision makers normally make bad decisions because it's all done out of emotion. And yet we have to then figure out, well, how do we gather the data, and what are we doing? What are we time blocking? Are we making time? I run 3 companies. And today there was specific segments of the day, not in equal amounts, but there was priorities, and then there was a quantity of work that had to be done. And I had to divvy up my day. I had to split my calendar up, and that included shooting this podcast at the end of the day. So there's 4 things that I'm sort of taking care of, and I literally had to, as the day was going by, I had to focus on, I'd get text messages and I'm like, lock the phone. Like, I've got to stay on task, because if I squirrel off here and squirrel off there, I am not going to get anything done in this day or the week. And I know that it's difficult, and look, I think for the most part, we're all about pleasing, the people in and around our ecosystem. But sometimes, I got a text and someone's they haven't heard from me for a long time, and I could have easily picked the phone up and then just quickly text that person back, but I just didn't want to get off task. I was busy working on something for one of my EBA clients, and I didn't want to get off task. And so, that's where we've got to be very clear, in our vision and what work we're doing, and we've got to be able to make good decisions on the fly to really, bring that together. So there is a combination. This is why I'm not just talking about vision for the business and your goals as one thing over there, and then the ability to make or be, quick decisions or be decisive. I want you to understand that they actually work hand in hand together. So what I want you to be, or what I want you to really shoot at, is to become a visionary for your company, as well at the same time be a very decisive, quick decision maker within your business as well. Start to work on that craft, because I watch business leaders and they do not dilly-dally. They do not flounder. They assess shit quick, and they are able to put together. And look, I think it's people are afraid to take a risk. I think making a quick decision is risky, like no question. But I think on the flip side that, if 3 plates hit the ground out of 10 and you got 7, it's probably a fair deal. It's probably okay, so long as those 3 plates don't send you broke, right? So just be smart. Remember, I can't be there in your corner to make these decisions. All I can do is give you some framework, bring some awareness to the situation, a little bit of education perhaps, and then you've just got to keep yourself accountable on the way through. Okay, so really vision as a guide. Use vision to ensure decisions lead toward your company goals. So clearer the vision, faster the decision. So we're going to use that. Clearer the vision, faster the decision. When you know exactly what it is, give or take, that you want, your ability to make decisions faster will be there, okay? And so what we're doing is, when you've got a clear vision, now we're removing the confusion. Like, if you go into a Chinese restaurant and you know exactly, I want this dish, I want fried rice, I want sweet and sour pork, I want Mongolian lamb, like when you know what you want, you just go in there and make it happen. You make quick decisions, okay? Clear vision, quick decision, right? No confusion. That's what we really want to go for. So I think that really comes, that really brings that into, clarity as far as what I'm sort of banging on about. So craft your vision. You've got to start. Look, there's no wrong or right, guys and gals. If you've not got a defined vision for your business, that's shit. That's bad, okay? So start doing something. Start using GPT to figure out, how do I do a goal setting for a construction company? Like, whatever it takes, but you need to start thinking about it. If you don't, and this is where I'm talking to a lot of my builders in my ecosystem, it's like, okay, are you happy with what you've achieved in the first 9 months of this year? And if you're not, what are you going to do between now and the next 3 months to set yourself up to improve or to achieve at a higher level? Like, if you haven't got anything in play, then you know that you're going to basically go around the mountain and achieve the same thing. So tweak that as you go. Faster decision making. We want to set some time limits. So these are a few practical takeaways for you. We want to set time limits. We want to use the data, right? So the data makes it easier. Why? Because there's no emotion. And we want to delegate tasks where possible. You know, there's things that I know that I can do and I reckon I'm the fastest, but I really shouldn't be doing that $25 an hour task. I need to delegate that. You know, and here's my challenge to you. Think about some things in your life where you've been dilly-dallying and you've been floundering and you've been making bullshit excuses for not making a decision. I would challenge you today, grab that thing by the horns, quickly think about your vision and allow that vision to bring or remove some of the confusion so that you can make a decision and really just move on. So, you know, there's a lot of power. You know, the power that comes from a clear vision will enhance your ability to make quick decisions. You know, the leadership really that you have, you know, donned yourself with is about the foresight and the action and the activity. And we want to create positive impacts inside of our business for clients, subcontractors, suppliers, and team members alike, and our clients, of course. And really, I think that we have just got to go and be prepared to learn something different, because I know that when I start challenging my Smith & Sons general contractors and my elite business advisory clients, there is that, you see the body language, the head goes back and they're like, oh, Max, you don't understand. And, you know, what I do understand is that it's a challenge. What I do understand is that you don't want to do it. What I do understand is that you're already heaps busy. What I do understand is that it frustrates you. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. And so really, you know, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family, you owe it to the people around you, and you owe it to yourself to understand that I don't care if you're at, you know, stage 4 up the mountain and you're only a kilometer from the summit. That's going to be the hardest part of the climb, is getting to the summit. And so, you know, a lot of that challenge is all inside of you. It's like that false evidence appearing real. If you hesitate, normally it's because you don't know what you're doing. Like, go to a T intersection and you don't know whether you're going left, right, or straight ahead. Or, you know, you go to a 4-way stop. If you don't know where you're going, it's impossible to make a decision. Why? Because you're confused. Now, quick side note to finish off. Clients that don't make decisions as to whether or not they're going to go with you are probably at some point confused about something. So when a client starts to and ah, this is a classic. They're not making a decision. Why? Because the vision that I've presented to them about their project is not clear. Think about that. So that's your takeaway, folks. I appreciate you stopping by. Like I said, if you've dropped in for the first time and you're still with me, I appreciate that. I hope you've got something from it. And, you know, like I said, you're going to hang around. And, of course, if you've been a long-termer, a long-time listener, I appreciate you also. And it is my oxygen. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. Don't forget, like and subscribe. One of these drops every week. Feel free to share the podcast. I mean, there's got to be someone else you know who's going to enjoy this kind of, you know, insight that might help them build a better business. Don't forget, get across to Business for Builders VIP, answer the 3 questions. And if you're a good sort, I'll let you in. But at the end of the day, I want you to go build that kick-ass business, and I will see you on the next episode. Cheers.